proofs of using those assumptions to come to conclusions which are necessary if you accept the axiom, right? If you disprove the proof, then they're not necessary. But if you haven't, nobody's done that, then these are absolutely necessary conclusions if you accept the axioms. So the terminology in some of these things makes it very kind of more complicated than necessary to understand what's going on. So in some of this, that's all that's happening. I'm not sure if in this one I'm going to talk about errors actually. Okay, so this is just me kind of provide a more rational basis or a more consistent basis, a more simple basis for understanding economics. And there is no really use catalactics or praxeology. But even those and people that practice them are not simple and consistent enough for me. So here with this term, rational economics, which I started using and I tried to kind of retrofit to the book more recently, it's not to be confused with economic rationalism, which is totally different. And that's pointed out in the book. Okay, so I've got 4 sections: axioms, property, actors, and actions. This is kind of unique to this presentation. It's not a book topic on this. The stuff today is stuff that's kind of come along a little bit later in the writing. And there's even a presentation that isn't even written about in the book, so you get a preview of maybe something that comes next. Okay, so these are kind of the key components of economics, the axioms, the assumptions that you operate on. Right? So rational economics, my stand is not based on observing something and coming to a conclusion. You can use that as a basis for formulating an idea and then trying to prove it. But the only things we consider true are the things we can prove. And won't get too deep into Kurt Gödel, but proving a complex system is both consistent and complete is not possible. So the system is based on assumptions as it must be. You can maybe talk to my Bitcoin smart guy back here about Gödel later or something for me. So axioms, human action, and time preference are the only ones I find really necessary for anything I've done so far. I really, even Rothbard reduced what used to be considered one of the axioms down to these. So these are the assumptions that I operate with. Then there's property. You have to have a definition of what are the actors and what are the objects we're dealing with. And the system considers definitional things. So property has a definition. Economic goods being distinct from money, we'll talk about that a little bit. And then the actors are people, persons. And you'll see why I break these down into labor and leisure and not something like capitalist and labor. Organizations of people working together. Those are sometimes considered separate types of actors, but I don't consider an organization a separate actor from a person. They're just groups of people acting together. And the actions themselves, people form valuations, they trade, which is a contract, that's an action, and there's production and there's consumption. Those are the actions that I can come up with. So try to be simple and consistent. So the actions, so if you actually go to Wikipedia, these links are in the book, human action, it's called the action axioms. This is my human action, the book is called Human Action. It's based on the assumption that humans act. Can't prove it, right? We think it might be true, and if we accept the fact that humans act, it implies that there's a choice made in any action, and the reason for the choice cannot be proven under these axioms. We could assume that we know the reason of it, but that would be another axiom that's kind of hard to accept. And some people do operate under those assumptions that we can know what's in people's minds. But this is not psychology, this is economics, and we specifically don't have an axiom that says that, which is why we have the idea that the value is subjective. It derives from this idea that we can't prove it's not subjective. Nobody's proven that, and we don't have an assumption for it that it's objective. So, I came up with this idea, it's a topic in the book. There's no human action topic, but there's this thing called the expression principle, and I was just like, when you get down to really fundamental philosophical concepts, things start to get fuzzy, the definitions don't make sense, and you have to come up with new, clearer definitions, and things get really abstract. If you ever talk to a math PhD, it's so freaking abstract you can't understand what the hell they're talking about, right? Or logic. My father was a PhD in philosophy, believe it or not. And you know, it can get very abstract and you just get lost. So anyway, this is a really pretty significant abstraction. It's the idea that, you know, you have all these actors, property, right? So what's a person? Is a person their body, their mind, their soul, right? So I had to separate the actor from the property. I consider a person's body the property of the person, then what is the person? So I use the term the soul, right? This intangible thing that controls the body, which is important when you talk about property. So property is control over something. And so we have this idea that the mind, the soul expresses its control, you know, over the body. It's what has control when you're born, so it's your property. Maybe not entirely your property, right? Your parents have some control. Where did that property come from? When we start talking about property in the slide, where does it come from? Property capital always comes from other capital, right? You can't have some new capital that didn't require some previous capital to produce it. So it's essentially an infinite regression, right? When you were born, you got capital from your mother, maybe some from your father, but you got a body that was given to you. It was a gift of capital from previous, right? We go back all the way to either the evolution or the creation of the soul, and that's where the regression terminates, I suppose, but I don't consider that an important concept. And I think I have this on another slide, but another question in terms of, okay, I talked a little bit about actors there more than I wanted to. So human action is this, there's this idea of a human is a soul that is expressing its desire through its property, which is its body, and if you think of it that way, then any crime against a person, like a murder, you know, decapitation of decapitation head, loss of an arm, right? Those are thefts of somebody's property. And you can think of like the one crime as aggression, right? Taking somebody's property, stealing it. Okay, time preference is the other axiom, the action, time preference axiom, I think is what Wikipedia calls it. And this is so commonly misunderstood and misrepresented that I have a good amount of topics on it. But time preference is the idea that it's an assumption, you can't prove it, right? But it's the assumption based on observation. You find it useful, so you base this economic theory on it, that people prefer things now more than they prefer them later. Very simple idea. So having it later means you don't have it now, right? Somebody else has it, or nobody has it. But if nobody has it, it's not property. Nobody owns it, it's not property. So something you expect to get in the future is worth less to you than something you have now. It's the same thing. Okay, so in this, they talk about the savings relation. This is a term that Rothbard uses. Again, not entirely consistent, but you can kind of pull it out of all the different things he says. This savings relation, and I think he does say it explicitly, is this ratio between what you have now and what you have lent out, somebody else has, that you have a time-based contract for in the future. You're going to get something in the future. So it's hoarding, which is having, right, versus lending, which is having in the future. And if you consider that contract your property for future stuff, right, you have this property, this stuff you have, this obligation for stuff in the future, that's your savings. It's all your stuff, your body, your house, car, your money, and obligations that other people have to give you something in the future, loans. And there's a ratio between them. And people have a different preference for things now versus later. And in economics, that's what time preference is referring to. It's not referring to what psychologists call deferred gratification. It's a psychology term. It's in some ways related to this, but it's not the same thing. When we start talking about consumption, what does consumption actually mean? It's kind of poorly presented in economics. I'll get a little bit more into that. So that's what's meant by the savings relation, this ratio of what you have versus what you lent. And time preference fallacy, I can't remember if I'm going to cover this on the slide. So there's a topic called the time preference fallacy, which is this idea that that hoarding is an expression of lower time preference. Having stuff now, which, like hoarding your Bitcoin. I think people come to that conclusion because Bitcoin has tended to increase in price, therefore it looks like a loan. But it's not a loan, right? You have it, it's yours, it's under your control, nobody else's. It would be the expression of high time preference to hoard something, and would be the expression of lower time preference if you lend more than somebody else. So that ratio is different. So that ratio that everybody has a certain amount of stuff, and lends a certain amount of stuff, if not everything or nothing, is different for everybody, and it's based on a preference. You can't determine why. But we can determine that the more that everybody has, the more stuff that a given person has, the less valuable each new unit of everything is to them, because it can only be consumed, only a certain amount can be consumed by them or used by them at any given time. So this excess is not as useful to them. So we can determine that if you're wealthier, your time preference would be lower. But apart from that, we can't say why or why not. People prefer to do this or that. And people will land at different rates. Say that hoard versus loan. Okay, so this fallacy is this kind of inversion of the top concept of time preference, and it's largely based on an error that economists produce in talking about what is consumption. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that on the next 1 or 2 slides. So if you can clean up the concept of consumption, which is horribly expressed, then you can better understand what's happening in the savings relation. Okay, so what's property? These are just aspects of property. Goods are things that provide service to people. You can sit in these chairs, those are goods, right? You can eat the food. But a pure money, which is a fiat money, has no use value. It doesn't have utility, right? It's used to get things that have utility. Pure money. If something like gold, it appears to have significant utility. The majority of gold that's mined every year actually goes into jewelry, something slightly larger than half. So there's utility in it, and there's also a monetary aspect of it. But in something like Bitcoin or monopoly money, which I'll talk about in the next presentation, they're presumed, again, this is kind of an abstraction, but they're presumed to have, not material utility. You can use a dollar bill as a straw, and you can use Bitcoin for timestamping, but those are not considered material. Nothing is absolute, but you would consider those fiat because they don't have utility themselves. They're traded for things with utility, which are goods. They provide use to people. So all property is defined and produced by control of a person. For something is nobody's property. There's too much of it, nobody cares, nobody's there, and then somebody grabs something that takes control of it, and that's what makes it property. It wouldn't do that if there was an unlimited abundance of it anywhere they went. And this is typically, people use air for this example, but some places air can start to get difficult to get, and then it becomes property. People sell it, like medical oxygen, things like that. But that's kind of a typical example. So it's defined by control of the person. If nobody's in control of it, it's not property yet. Initially owned by its producer. Some person has to actually produce it and make it property. That's an act of a person, and then it can be traded by its owner. Property can only be consumed by its owner, right? The owner has controlled it by definition, therefore the owner is consuming it. When I talk about consumption, I think later, see that consumption is really properly described as depreciation. Financial people understand this better than economists. Consumption is not the act of a trade between two parties. Consumption is the act of destruction of the product. So somebody makes a motorcycle and trades it to somebody else. It has not been consumed, right? But it would be considered consumed by a lot of economists, which is why we get all these complexities like durable goods, non-durable goods, trying to kind of figure out what's actually going on. But what's really going on is the goods are just changing hands. A manufacturer can have a large inventory and can sit in their inventory for years. Imagine it's fruit. It sits in there for days, and it's not fully consumed. It's destroyed. It's not consumed by somebody purchasing it. And this ties back into the time preference fallacy, which is the idea that consumption is the purchasing of something. No, consumption is the owning of something, right? So trading does not destroy something. Time does. All things. Okay, so going to production. Production requires time and space. And nothing can be produced without at least a person producing it, which takes up space to house their soul at a minimum. And requires time because no change occurs without time. So those are essential. And it requires a person to produce something. For production of property to occur, some person has to actually take control of it at a minimum. Put a fence around some land, take an idea, write it down, think it up. And that implies ownership, right? So there's shared direction in production. So we'll talk about, I'll say this week to talk about people, laborers and thinkers. But then there is capital required, right? At a minimum. And of course, production may incorporate non-economic goods. That's where all property originates from. There's some non-economic goods, some land that nobody owns, and it's free. And then somebody takes control of it. So now it's an economic good. It's still a good, right? It doesn't have to be property. It's still be a good, but it's not an economic. It's not trade. It just use it. Okay, so let's see. We got 2%. So the actors, individual persons are the only economic actors. Individual persons may be a laborer, right? And so we want to be fully general. We put persons in a couple categories based on whether we're talking about economic goods or non-economic goods. So what will be what's a non-economic good? A non-economic good is something that you don't that's a really good question. So typically a non-economic good would be considered like psychic value. I think is the term Rothbard uses. Somebody trades a job in one town versus another town because they really want to be the kids. They get that benefit, right? They are traded for that benefit, but it's not a product that's produced and sold, a service that's provided, right? So it's traded on the market, and that's why this is why these definitions get hard, because they are traded when people negotiate for jobs, etc. That's one of the things they're valuing. But economists make a distinction between economic and non-economic goods, and so when I look at it, I see a laborer producing economic goods. That's what they're doing. And even if they're producing them for themselves, take some time, take some capital, their own body, or make something set aside or consume it, that's production. And that laborer must have had some capital to produce that thing. Again, in a minimum in one body, the energy stored in it, but maybe a lot more. So how is a laborer not a capitalist? How are they not directing capital? They must be directing capital. The term capitalist, this doesn't make any sense. Everybody who produces anything, even somebody working a wage job, is both a capitalist and a laborer. They're just operating at different scales. Right? And that's an arbitrary distinction, which is why I excluded it. A leisurer, right? So if you think of it as a laborer being this producer, common terminology, they're using their soul, right? However they're going to direct themselves to produce something. But when they're not, what are they doing? They're doing something else, right? They're not producing something. They're not producing an economic good. So I consider it that they're producing non-economic goods. That's what economists call, leisure is. But leisure in economics is referred to as a good itself. But it's clearly an act, right? Leisure is an act. It's not a good. So the terminology doesn't even make sense. Rothbard gets all twisted up in this. I think I referenced in the book. It gets really convoluted trying to explain this concept, and it's really simple. If you think of it this way, a leisurer is a person who's not producing an economic good. They're doing what they want otherwise, and that is consuming what they have, maybe the energy stored in their body or the thread on their motorcycle tires or whatever. because time is passing, they're not producing anything more, they have savings, this is all savings of theirs, hoarding, and they're consuming it. They're consuming it for what? Their own psychic benefit, right? That non-economic good that Tom was talking about. So I look at it like a laborer is producing an economic good, and a leisure is producing a non-economic good, which is self-satisfaction, right? Maybe making some artwork, that's could be good. But if you're just doing something you want to do, that's leisure. So both of them are producing something. They're both being directed towards some result, and that psychic value the laborer might be, trading for when he takes a job, for example. Okay, so it's important to understand that both labor and leisure are consumptive activities. Right? To produce something, you have to consume property. And to exist in leisure, you're also consuming some property. The output is what's different, right? And this is an arbitrary line, whether we consider economic good or non-economic good. It's not really important, except when we apply the also not so important distinction between a laborer and a leisure, right? It's just a human directed capital for whatever end, and that line between the two is really, I think, unimportant, which is why I paused before. I'm like, I draw this line, I really can't. So, organizations are sets of people, each directing their own individual capital the way they want. We're assuming voluntary action. Not talking about involuntary action just yet. And they're each trading. They come together as an organization. They're trading with each other. They're trading with other people. But each person necessarily acts as an individual. They can't act in any way. Contracts between them are simply trades. Contracts with other people, between their group of people and other people, are simply trades. So they get together, they produce, which requires consumption, and they trade. These are very simple concepts, and I think economics can be understood much more simply if they just describe this way. So people can say, the limited liability, I just want to throw this in here, it's not really directly relevant to the subject, but limited liability company is an entity, it's a human or something like this, it's got special protection, whatever, and this is just really nonsense. Take away the state, we're not thinking about the state, anything like that. Some people get together, you all get together, and we say, we're going to limit our liability. How do you do that? How would you do it if you don't have the state to step in and do something for you? This does happen. You write up a contract that you trade with somebody else. You tell them, this is the limit of your liability. You see this in almost all contracts. They're all limited liability contracts, unless they're kind of, bad contracts, I guess. So a limited liability company is a company whose investors are expressly said, we will take on this amount of liability. We won't take on liability for these things. So if you lend us money, our obligation to you is this. Right? And that's really the extent of it. It's just a contractual concept. State steps in and does all kinds of things, right? But also the idea that the state provides criminal liability protection for these things. Yeah, there's actually some truth to that. That's not the concept of a corporation. Corporation is people acting together voluntarily, returning each other what they consider proportional rewards of their production. As opposed to, and this is good in Rothbard, as opposed to a cooperative, which is distinct from a company, because the returns are not shared proportionally. Right? You negotiate in a company, you negotiate with each other for what percentage of the returns are yours, therefore what percentage of the company is yours. And a cooperative, you join this thing, and we're all equals, and the rewards or the returns are divvied out based on a voting process or some arbitrary process. And states have done this, right? This is what socialism is the idea that everybody contributes what they can, and everybody gets what they need. It's not proportional to your contribution. There's an important distinction there. But these are all contractual concepts. They don't require the state. You can certainly do this. It's just that cooperatives don't tend to last. They never last because people don't want to contribute disproportionately to reward. Okay. So I think this is outside actions. So in the economic system that I'm describing, What are the actions? What are the things that the soul does, the person does? They trade with other persons, and they produce things, and they consume things. There really isn't anything else, and then scratch my head trying to figure out something, so really nothing else. They either produce economic goods or non-economic goods, but while they have things, those things are being consumed. You eat some food, you think it's consumed, it's really not. It's converted to energy, stored energy, whatever your body, and eventually, as you burn that, and the energy gets consumed, it's not fully consumed. But sometimes these things are just being moved around or a little bit lost, but consumption takes time. Consumption, notice that consumption is not a trade. This is the biggest error that I see in economics, the idea that I produce something, I sell it to somebody that we arbitrarily call a consumer, unless they're not a consumer, maybe they're making something else, and we don't know, this is all over our license, it's unnecessarily confusing. Everybody produces something because they're alive, and everybody consumes something because everybody has property. Production requires consumption, and but importantly, you can only consume what you have. You can't. So, for example, if I have a contract for 1,000 bananas next year, as the year goes by, I am not consuming those bananas. Right? The day they are delivered, I start consuming them, even if I never eat them. Right? They're being consumed now. So this is important to understand. What you lend doesn't get consumed. It's only when you get it that it starts getting consumed. Now, somebody else has to produce whatever they have on their own consumption problems, or aspects of the production. Production takes time and consumes stuff. Let me see what the bullet's saying. Okay, so trade is voluntary. We're not talking about involuntary action. That's the second thing we're up with. So you're expressing your own preference. And we don't make any attempt to describe why it's a preference. Value is subjective, is what we say, right? We don't care why. It's explicitly excluded from the reasoning. So all of the economists move around and say, well, because this happened, right? People now prefer this one. You can't know that explicitly, unless you're using some other form of economics, at least Marxian. And my system actually makes this error in his money regression theorem. He said, well, in this case, people value this more because they value it, because they remember the value from yesterday. So you're saying memory produces this valuation, but it's just an error. Value is subjective. You can't say that I'm valuing this gold at a certain amount because it had a certain value yesterday. I might value it for some completely other reason. I might not even care what the value is yesterday. You can't say that. It's an assumption. Can't prove it. Involuntary trade is when one is forced to express the preference of another. You're forced to give up your property, which is not your preference. You didn't want to do it. You do want to do it now because you're being compelled. Right? That's basically what it comes down to. So that's what we call theft. I see with that. So trade implies valuation. Both parties are. So what's a valuation? Valuation is a comparison between two things. I value this more than I value that. That's why I trade for it. That's it. That's a valuation. It's subjective by definition. It's a preference of one thing over another. It's not in the things. It's in people's minds. Value is subjective. A trade is a contract, whether it's explicit or not. Hand you the dong and you hand me the motorcycle keys, right? That trade has presumably cleared when both people believe they have the dong, believe they have the motorcycle. If it's not what they believe, right? Maybe there's a settlement time, and those things can be drawn out for years. Definitely, where you have these contracts that don't settle for long periods of time, which is fine. But there's always a implicit contract. That's really what a trade is. So if there's a contract where somebody pays with debt, the contract's not settled until the debt clears and you get the actual money, which is specified in the contract, right? The contract determines its own settlement terms. So if you say this contract cleared when I get my zero-conf transaction, it's good, it's settled. If it doesn't confirm, it's nobody's problem, right? Because that was what was agreed in the contract. If the contract says it has to be 6 confirmations before the contract's settled, then so the payment, you wait for your beer, 6 confirmations, and your beer is settled. If it's reversed, it's irrelevant. contract is settled. That's what settled means, no longer in effect. So, okay, let's trade production and consumption. So property, I've already covered much of this in the last slide, and I'm almost out of time. So property is always owned and therefore directed by a person. That's what ownership means. Goods are always depreciated. I have a topic of the depreciation principle. Time does that. Depreciation serves either production or consumption, right? It's not stated very well. Depreciation, consumption is depreciation, right? And everything that's produced is depreciating other stuff. Labor consumes to produce an economic good, leisure consumes to produce a non-economic good. Really, it's just human action. You split it into these two arbitrary distinctions based on whether the goods kind of get traded or they don't get traded. Right? It's just my psychic value that I'm producing. By sitting in the chair, I'm more comfortable. I traded, I made that choice. I get that benefit, so I'm putting some wear on the chair. It says, and that's leisure. Okay, so we're negative 30 seconds. I'll take a few minutes to answer some questions.
Take one question.
Eric, you said deferred gratification is not the same as time preference, or what time preference?
I understand the first part.
Deferred gratification or delayed gratification is not the same as time preference. Could you explain that a bit further?
Yeah, the best way to give you a short answer is Wikipedia, time preference, axiom, and delayed or deferred gratification articles. They're separate articles. One's talking about psychology, marshmallow experiment, that kind of stuff. There's no lending involved, right? The time preference is the trade of something over time. So if so it's like the experiment, psychology experiment, put the kid down and do 2 marshmallows today or 4 marshmallows tomorrow, right? The kid doesn't have the marshmallows, he's not letting anybody marshmallows, he's expressing delayed gratification for whatever reasons, and then maybe, again, value subjective. All we know economically is the assumption that people prefer things now more than later, the same thing now more than later. So if you said, you have, I'll trade with you, I'll give you, this pencil for 2 marshmallows now. I'll give you this pencil for 2 marshmallows tomorrow. What do you prefer? For now, whatever, right? That's the assumption that people prefer now. It's an assumption, but it seems to be reasonable, so it's the basis of the system. If you ask a kid whether, I give you 2 marshmallows now versus 4 marshmallows tomorrow, right? He's expressing, delayed gratification from a psychology standpoint. He's not making the choice to take some of this capital, lend it for a certain interest rate, but more marshmallows in the future, versus hold on to it, right? Again, they're very similar concepts, but time preference, the expression of time preference is the interest rate. It's very explicit in all kinds of philosophy and economics. The interest rate is the direct expression of time preference. Now, how could me sitting there looking at my own property and deciding whether when I eat it today or eat it tomorrow affect the interest rate? It doesn't. This stuff's getting consumed at different rates. I may go out and buy more, that may cause more production. That may have an impact on the interest rate, or may not, right? So the ratio of what you hoard to what you lend is also the interest rate. And Rothbard is explicit about this. It takes a long time to find it. There's actually a reference from Rothbard, I think I quoted, which he says, these are the same thing. The interest rate is subject to arbitrage like all prices, and it's kind of uniform across the world, barring states, etc. But because of arbitrage, it becomes a uniform price for capital. And I think I have a derivation of why that's the same as the kind of uniform rate of hoarding versus lending. That gets into technical. I don't want to go into that. It's in the book. So again, these are different concepts. They're very similar, and that's why people confuse them. But if it's not alone, you're not talking about the time preference choice. And that's very clear. Not my stuff. Okay, yeah. Maybe one more, or I'll be back. So I'll save it if you guys.